All right, guys. Progress. World record again. Let's fucking go. On Kil'jaeden, thank you so much for the gifted sub, brother. Let's call Dali and get him in here. Bum, bum, bum. Fastest guild in the world, dude. And two-time, thank you, man. Yo, oh my god. Look at this beautiful face. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh, right, I pushed the dog button. Let me turn that off.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Now let me make your face. Oh, I'm going to put your face over your face.
Okay.
Just give me a second to do this in Streamlabs. Let's see if I remember how to do it. Window capture. Let's fucking go, dude. It's window or display. One of those.
I think either should get the job done. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Discord. Ha! Fucking beautiful.
Hey, there we go.
Wow, dude, what a beautiful face, man. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right.
Congrats on being back on top.
Yeah, thank you. Even if it's probably not super long lasted.
It is so close right now. Holy crap.
Super close.
Yeah. So that people can see all green you. That's perfect, dude. Yeah, 32 minutes, 32 seconds. The most impressive thing for me watching it is that how well you did without Glaives. Like, is Glaives the only thing you're missing?
Pretty much at this point, yeah. I mean, there's technically, like, I guess the necklace off Brutalis I could use as well, but for the most part, I'm full Sunwell Abyss outside of having Glaives. But I mean, as nice as they would be, like, obviously, yeah, fist weapons get the job done. Like, our run showed it. If anything, the Space Force run with Toxbox showed it as well.
Yeah, seriously, he was right up there as well. I had a question. How did you guys decide switching away from switching away from the Warlock comp back to the physical comp, and finally running the Triple Hunter Dream?
I don't know the exact reason. Like, I'm not part of leadership who made the decision to switch the comp up. My assumption, I mean, there's been a lot of conspiracy theories thrown around as to, like, oh, it's because people were going on vacation, or oh, it's because this certain person wasn't available, so we had no choice. But I would assume, I mean, this is, like I said, only an assumption, that we just saw other guilds performing better with the more physical heavy comp. Yeah. And we swapped to it because of that. People have been coming up with these weird excuses about how, like, oh, it's so coincidental that people went on vacation, but I don't think there's really any harm in admitting that, like, yeah, it seems like the other comps were doing better, so we decided to mirror closer to those.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys cut down so much time. Holy shit.
Yeah, yes. No kidding.
Fuck yeah.
And, like, we cut down a lot of time even with having a somewhat sloppy run, so obviously, yeah, I think we still have some more potential there if we can actually execute a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen the run, so I know you guys have, like, lost some time. I know you lost some time. Windforce said you could probably easily do the sub 32, maybe even more. What sections do you think are, like, were the most challenging? Here, should I share my screen so you can see where I'm at?
I mean, if you want to, sure. Otherwise, I could just probably see it on your stream.
I wonder if this is gonna fuck things up. Let me try. Share screen. Screen one.
Ooh, okay, perfect.
But no, because I lost you now.
True.
Wait, can I? Spectator, no. Man, I'm not a genius with Discord. All right, I'm disconnecting that. I just want to see your face. Join call. There, I'm back. All right, you're back. All right. All right. So yeah, we'll just watch it on stream. Sorry. Sorry for the complication. But I'm glad you're back in the runs. I'm super hyped you're back in the runs. And let me mute my alerts. I'm really excited to see, like, what you guys pull off. One thing I did notice, right? So you went right away. You guys pull, like, this first pull with all of your CDs, and you got scattered. But you guys don't pull the pat into this. Is that a chosen reason?
That's a difference between Space Force's run and ours, is that we choose to engage the pat later. We choose to engage it, I guess, after the third protector pull.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was intentional. That's the way we planned it. But honestly, after watching Space Forces run last night, I'm pretty convinced that the way they do it is probably better, just because they get more uptime on the 4-pack patrol plus the protector all in this one pull where we have Lust up. So
Yeah. I feel like,
um,
and you have Lust and you're running all CDs, right? You're like full blasting.
yeah, exactly. We got full CDs up and we have Lust rolling. So
Hmm.
I think personally it's probably a better idea to do what Space Force did. Like nothing's set in stone yet, but I'd like to see us run a similar strategy to what they did, since I think they end up. I think in this first section here with all the protector pulls, they saved us like I think they were like 13 seconds ahead of us or something.
Yeah, on pull of Kil'jaeden, right? Which
Yeah.
is, that's a lot of time at this now like section, right? Just for the beginning. You guys, where you guys actually shine ridiculously well is like Twins to Muru. I feel like
the second half of the run is our strength. We still need to improve the first part. The second half though is really what saved us last night.
yeah. Yeah, literally. Continually. And also, before, I know people are gonna ask on YouTube's, I know you're taking the break from streaming for the most part. Are you still doing that with the speedrunning happening? Are you still doing more like IRL things?
I mean, like I didn't commit to anything. I said I'd stream potentially intermittently here and there if I felt like streaming something. I just didn't commit to like full-time streaming. So I'll probably, I
Yeah.
mean, certainly like if there's future speedruns, I'll stream those, of course. And like, yeah, when pre-patch comes out, I'll probably at least stream like leveling DK and leveling and maybe prepping characters for Wrath or anything. But as far as like, full-time stuff, just wait until Wrath comes out. That could change though. I don't know. I'm not hard committed to anything, of course.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad to have you doing some streams, and I'm glad you're in the runs, man. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So am I, dude.
I'm glad progress saw the light of the real stack, the physical comp.
Yeah, better late than never, I guess.
And also, you
Yeah,
guys
so-
are helping me convince. See, because you guys distract the Pat here.
Yeah, exactly. We're I think ideally, honestly, we do want to bring this Pat in with this pack right here and fight them at the same time. The problem is this is the pack where we have 2 tank deaths. The first feral tank dies, and then
Predator dies. Yeah.
yeah, well, actually, it's Derpy Hooves that's actually the first one that dies. He gets instantly combat rezzed, but when he dies,
Oh.
what happened was Creditor in response decides to AoE taunt because he sees the other feral tank die. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the right choice. Like, it was either that, there was going to be like 3 separate melee that would have had threat and probably just gotten insta one shot. So to his credit, he AoE taunts, and that was the right move. But because he does that, that gets him killed as well. And he doesn't get a combat res. I think he just gets rezzed after this pull is over. So this is definitely, while I think Space Force still did a better like pull order than we did in this section. I mean, this obviously losing our feral tanks in this section loses us a bit of time as well. So
Definitely. And like that one pull right there, I feel like is like generally one of the scarier ones. So like dealing with the Pat, you guys tend to try to deal with the Pat exactly with it and not with Bloodlust, because you're not tracking Bloodlust.
well, we lost the first pull and then the second pull. So we get 2 lost, but not by this one. So yeah, that makes this one a little bit scarier. Like the one before this one and this one right here.
Yeah.
And then plus, like I said, the way we do it, we just assume the Pat's going to line up correctly, like if we have proper timing. But the problem is, like, it doesn't leave us with a whole lot of wiggle room if something goes wrong, like it did right there.
Yeah, definitely. It would have been perfect. But at least you have the Rogue with 0-2 coming in clutch with the distract and it not actually resisting. That could have actually been a lot scarier.
The 1 or 2 useful abilities of a Rogue got to take advantage of that one right there.
Yeah. And you do Ret Paladin to pull this group down, right?
Correct. Yeah, Red Paladins pull them down. There's a bubble at the bottom of the stairs.
So you can mount
This
up
is another
as long
difference
as
between Space
possible.
Forces running ours. Like we pull this down, whereas they just choose to equip rocket boots right here, and then they run up to the next pack, and then they fight it there. Then after this next pack, then they rocket boots. I timed it last night, and between their strat and our strat, it's pretty much identical. So I don't think there's a major advantage to doing either, but they both work fine. From this section onwards, right here, all the way until
this is
Calicos,
unfortunate.
we were equal to Space Force, so it was really just
Yeah.
like the first part, like of what we've already watched. That was slower. This part was actually fine.
This is sketchy though. You did this pull with the Pat with all like I guess 4 warriors, so you have a death there. Yeah,
we do lose a Warlock on this, but overall it wasn't actually terrible. Like
Mhm.
I think when the run is happening, ideally we don't pull these at the same time, but in the moment when we saw that the pat was just like right next to this pack right here, our raid leader basically just said, "Fuck it, let's YOLO, let's give it a shot." And we have a death, but it ends up working out. I think if anything,
I think it
it
saved
probably saved
time.
us a little bit of time, yeah, overall.
Yeah.
So like, the warlock gets combat res, so it's not a big deal. And because of that, I think in the moment, especially since if the run if it ends up fucking up, you can always just reset, right? Like I think this was the right call in the moment.
Yeah. Have you guys checked out, like, you're not going to use rocket boots in this sort of section at all, right? So like, have you?
No, we don't. We never use rocket boots in the run just at all, which could be
At
something
all?
you could argue. No, we never do. It could be something you could argue we could maybe use as a bit of a time save, but like Space Force, for example, uses them twice. They use them once in this section, once after Muru. I don't think either are a massive time save. In fact, I don't think the first one is at all. The second one, though, could be better. We could take advantage of it, though, after Muru.
Yeah. I mean, it could also just, I see a merit of rocket boots in like this section for like to move quickly and drink walk for a split second before you mount up. I don't know if you lose time doing that. I haven't tested.
Like I said, I compared our run with Space Force's run last night, where they do use drink walk and we don't. It was pretty much identical. So,
so
I don't
then
think there's
drink
a
walk
huge...
is nice though.
I guess, but
Look
I don't
at
really think our
Epios
healers are having too
churches
many...
and stayed. I'm just thinking for the hunters. I'm such
All
a
right, you're
creeper.
right. I don't look at hunter mana because that's not my forte. But at least for healers, I don't think they typically need it all that desperately. But
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you could technically drink walk during the rocket boots, but it'd be like 2 ticks. So I'm not really sure it's gonna make that huge of a difference.
Yeah. And then you guys, so they're 13 seconds ahead on pull of Kelagos, but behind on death. I didn't check the time. At
Behind
least
on what?
On the death of Kelagos.
Our Calagos ends up being 3 seconds faster than theirs.
Okay, so
I think the major difference is because we choose to use cooldowns right here during the dragon, like when we're DPSing the dragon, whereas they choose to use them down below during the demon phase, or like when people are down fighting the demon.
It doesn't make a traditional way.
Yeah, the more traditional way. It doesn't make a massive difference, but the reason we use CDs on the dragon right here is because we're trying to kill them as evenly as possible. Because obviously, if one of them dies really fast, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's just all about when the second one dies.
Yeah.
So traditionally, like if you do it this way where you try to one phase it, you're usually gated by how fast Calagos dies. Like he's usually the one to die last, right? So
yeah,
the idea of popping CDs on Calagos is to make it so you can, like, as soon as you're done killing the demon, Calagos is as close to death as possible already, and we end up doing it pretty much perfectly.
Yeah,
on this,
you guys
this
planned it out. They had to wait. They had like 16% as they came back up for Kelagos, and Sarthe was dead, which is like, I'm sure they're gonna iron out now. Which groups do you guys tend to send in the same group first? Because it looks like your group and even maybe Stade's and Fienzi's group stayed out, and I didn't notice if group 3 went first or the Warlocks went first. I wasn't looking.
We always have the same order. We've got 3 groups, so we send in like the casters first, and then the first group of physicals second, and then the third group of physicals third. Yeah. Basically, just because like if you send in the melees or the physicals first, they'll get threat cap, so you kind of have to wait till some threat's been established already.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And then mount up and run all the way through. If anyone doesn't know, they pre-cleared all of this. You guys, everyone knows that by now, though. Do you guys use the Warlock to get to the pre-clear? Do you have to do do you have a Paladin go all the way through? Do you know? Or do you don't have to deal with that yourself?
I know. That's a good question, though.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
You can find other ways, I'm sure.
It's very, I mean, yeah, it just, we do it the slow way. We have a Paladin get up there, and it, because we don't have Warlocks with the rep, or anyone with rep for the stupid neck to trinket it up. But anyways, whatever. Brutalis, you guys use, actually, I think you use some Bloodlust on Brutalis. Space Force used all Bloodlust on Brutalis and actually saved them 9, maybe it was 12 seconds on the kill. I'll pull it up.
I think their kill is, I believe it was 9 seconds faster, yeah. Yeah, they choose to send all 6. We choose to save 3 of them for Felmist. I'm not really sure it makes that big of a difference. I think the justification for splitting them like 3 on Brutalis, 3 on Felmist is just so that way like cooldowns will always line up with both lusts, whereas if you send both during Brutalis, like you can line up your 3-minute CDs with one of the lusts, but not both. In fact, well, the way they actually do it, they don't line up their 3-minute CDs with either of the lusts, so
Yeah,
I personally think splitting them half and half between Brutalis and Felmis is more the play.
I noticed that too. I was like, interestingly enough, I saw like earlier, because right before this I watched Tetsu's POV, and he did like a death wish with like nothing else, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
not saving that.
I find that odd. I'm not really sure why they do that. Especially since if like you're running a physical heavy comp like this, you'll get more value out of the Lust on Felmis who has lower armor.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, you guys had the same pace Felmis, 312.
Yeah, that was a little weird. They only killed it 1 second slower despite the lusts. I was looking at that last night, and it seems like it's a bunch of little things that caused it. I think number one, it's the fact that like they just straight up had better RNG than us as far as I could tell.
A lot of crit and stuff.
Yeah, and then B, it was really weird. Like I compared our air phases. Their air phase, for whatever reason, which is supposed to be just like a static timer, actually ended up being 3 seconds faster than ours. I'm assuming that has something to do with the RNG of like where Felmis chooses to fly, and so if Felmis like chooses to like fly to the other side of where she's gonna do the breath thing, it makes it take longer. But yeah, for whatever reason, we lost a little time in the air phase, and that's not something you can control, obviously.
That is really interesting. Maybe also if you like have Felmis positioned closer to where she starts doing her like Onyxia breaths from, it might be faster, but I'm curious. We'll see in a second if you guys do the same spot.
We use both the same spots, yeah. So it doesn't.
Yeah,
really, that shouldn't really make the difference.
Yeah. Damn. 3 seconds. That little RNG. What if at the very end, when we get like the best, the ultimate runs, like the god runs, that's the differentiator?
Yeah, that's what makes the difference. How fast your Felmis air phase ends up happening.
Yeah,
I hope not, but yeah, I mean, I always just assumed like the time of the air phase was always going to be exactly the same, but apparently not. It can actually vary a little bit.
What a trip. Oh, death. Eplios dead there.
Yeah,
sad.
So what happens here is that we've got 2 burns that are going out and like reaching their bad phases simultaneously. It was both on our Shadow Priest and then Eplios as well, who's our survival hunter. And basically the healers had to pick one, and they end up choosing the Shadow Priest. Good news is he's getting combat res, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, that was obviously a reason that slows us down a little bit more on this Brutalis compared to Space Force.
Yeah. And I mean, later in this raid, for the whole second half, his pet dies and he's just screwed, actually, which definitely, I mean, your second half is insanely fast, but he definitely lost out on a lot of overall damage from there. Because as a survival, it's like a 10-second res and all of your mana. It is.
Ooh, is that really? Ooh,
yeah, it's
yikes.
so bad. It's so bad resing your pet if it dies. It sucks, yeah. I saved the Shadow Priest with Nature Swiftness. Eplios was sad. Nick. Feels bad, it happens.
Yeah, I think what also happened at the time was like there was a meteor slash that went out right during that same time, so it was ended up just being a ton of damage. So like the healers basically had to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if there's a correct one in that situation, but if you can combat res, it's not gonna make a huge difference either way, I guess.
And then you guys do use the Infernals to get Rage, and Creditors actually getting like full Rage off of one of the Infernals. I love that. So you can be pretty much stacked up.
Yep.
Yeah. That's something that I think is really underutilized. A lot of guilds are doing it now, but I think it's just like to have your tank have full Rage is so important.
Yeah, especially on Felmis, where like everybody's ready to attack already. It's clutch to have that on pull.
Yeah. I know you've gotten this question last night a bunch, probably, or last week. Why did you have backfire of the engineering?
Basically, I mean, from what I've figured out, apparently if you have Goblin engineering, and so you've got the Area 52 transporter, for whatever reason, it bugs out sometimes. So I'd say like on average, maybe 1 out of every 10 times, even if you like Alt F4 at the proper time, it still for whatever reason puts the trinket on cooldown.
Damn.
So keep in mind, we speedrun on Tuesday, so like two days before this run happened here, we'd speedrun previously, and so
yeah,
I literally started trying to fish for malfunction debuffs like again right after that run started, and I did it as many times as I could, like after probably usually like on average maybe 10 or 15 minutes of fishing, the trinket will just get randomly put on cooldown. So I kept doing it every 4 hours to try to get enough debuffs, and I just ended up not getting enough. So
damn.
Yeah,
happens. And the NA lag might do something. I don't know.
Yeah, I originally thought that had something to do with it, but apparently it's more just the fact that like the Goblin, like the Area 52 one's not reliable, whereas like the Gnomish one works all the time. I would swap the Gnomish engineering if it weren't for the fact that pre-patch is probably coming in like 2 weeks. That seems like a lot of effort to 3-level engineering just for like 2 weeks of transporter malfunctions, but just basically means I have to fish for malfunctions like super far in advance.
Yeah. You guys get lucky. No melee get targeted with this. I mean, you do get out and spread. It was last week. I think it was Noda. Someone who got world record last week. I think it was Noda. They full YOLO'd this. But you guys have actually Felmis way lower than your Felmis is 24%. That's way lower than Space Force. Space Force had him like 32% on, or like 30% running away.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously, like, we had the lusts, right, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Where they end up making up time in this Felmis tier is, number one, just because, like I said, their air phase was shorter, somehow. Number two, I did notice their shamans were doing a little bit of DPSing during the air phase, whereas ours didn't, so that's probably something we should work on.
Yeah.
And then, I think once Felmis lands, they just get better RNG as far as killing it faster.
Yeah, I know Stade is really good at, like, you have some people that are really good at getting shots out here as it flies by, which I think is just like pretty clutch. It's a little bit of damage, but like if everyone gets a hit and you don't get MC'd, obviously that's just extra damage there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not much, but every little bit counts.
Yeah. PvP trinket incident. Did someone have a PvP trinket on for the whole fight?
Nah, we'll get to that part later in the run.
Okay. And then I know, I don't know if it was in this run because I was literally mid podcast while you guys were doing this, so I had it on like a side monitor and I like barely saw anything, but I think it's about to happen in a second. If you can't get the Mass Dispel, right? That is so unfortunate. Look at how many Mass Dispels are attempted too.
Yeah. Well, it's not the fact that they're not landing. It's just the mobs you can see. They don't actually spawn until right there.
Yeah.
They don't even pop up. So like, this is not something you can control, right? Like, you can't, for whatever reason, sometimes they spawn faster, sometimes it takes longer. And
have you seen that before?
I'd never seen them spawn this late before. I don't know what caused them to spawn this late, but I went back and compared our run to Space Forces, who got literally perfect like spawn RNG. Like, it spawned literally as Felmis died. This alone right here cost us like 12 seconds. This was rough.
Yeah. And you have Creditor running ahead so he can pick things up while everyone runs back and mounts.
Yeah, we kind of
you have Ogre Suit.
Yeah, I had to cancel the Ogre Suit first. Forgot about that for a sec. This ends up being one of the strongest parts of our run right here. Our Gauntlet, after that little unfortunate grief with the mobs not spawning, this part ends up being insane. I don't think there's any guild in the world that's gone anywhere close to as fast as we did this part right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you guys have everything stacked up so well and are pumping so much damage too.
Yeah, so this, like, compared to the run last night that Space Force did, was the first section in which we actually start making up time. Because by the time their Felmis died, I think they were like something like close to 30 seconds ahead of our pace, and this is where we started to make it back.
30 seconds. Think that's the 32-minute run right there, or the sub 32. Yeah. And you guys used to do, for a while you were doing where Stade would run up and pull these back to you. You guys opted away from that. I guess you have to move to this section anyways.
Right, exactly. Pulling back to you doesn't do a whole bunch of good if you're just going to end up running through that part anyways.
Yeah, and you're like, you have a lot of warriors and stuff, like everyone can pump while you're like slowly dragging things.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the advantages of the physical comp, right? Like, you can do a lot more damage while you're moving compared to a caster comp.
Yeah. And dude, oh my god, I love the warriors, like just seeing all of the numbers, dude. It's so fun.
Dude, it's so satisfying, especially in Sunwell gear. Oh man, it's so satisfying. It feels like you have world buffs again, basically.
That's the best. That's like the most fun thing ever. It's like, just bring them back, dude. Blizzard, for one, if we had Darkmoon Fair for like 1 week a month, speed runs would be so nutty.
Exactly, just like a special events, like, you know, okay, we're just gonna like randomly just bring back, like, even once every 2 months or something, just like a random special event, like the speedrun event is here or whatever, and like allow, just even if it's just Darkmoon Fair, but just
literally,
that'd be sick.
And like, if you die, you lose it, right? That was like that risk reward, like that. Those stakes were so amazing.
We can dream.
We're gonna, I'm gonna email Blizzard 1,000 times. Just make Nax fun again when we go back there. Now we have Death Knights. So what is your plan for Wrath? Have you already said?
Well, I'm definitely gonna play a Death Knight, or at least give it a shot. As far as what I'm maining, I'm still planning on maining a warrior now. I might not be able to main a warrior in Nax, at least just based on how awful they're looking so far, but at least long term, and hopefully by Olduar, then plans to still go with the warrior, but I definitely want to play DK. It does still look really fun, especially a Frost DK.
Dude, it is so... Frost DK straight up is Fury Warrior.
Yeah,
with no cleave
basically,
cap,
it's what you
basically.
wish Fury Warrior was in Nax.
Yeah. It is, dude. You're gonna, yeah. I don't know if you've been playing it on the beta at all, but it is definitely a really fun, and it feels like undergeared Frosty K. I'm like, it feels in normal dungeons like I'm a Fury Warrior with with gear or like with world buffs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you just got traded an ogre suit. Why do you use? Or you're not using it here? Is it for Muru?
I should have used this. He gave it to me like to be able to use it once we got to Muru. I should have used it. I just forgot at that point. But
okay.
ideally, just to get the extra range on it. But it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. And then your twins, yeah. You guys, this is where you guys really like that whole section. Like the back half progress in general has saved so much time in the back half. Whenever someone like catches up or is ahead, you guys just shatter them in the back half.
Yeah, basically from twins to Kil'jaeden dying was, I'm not gonna say perfection, but it was pretty damn close to being as well as you can possibly do this part. Our twins was, because the funny thing is, like when we PTR doing twins, this is one of the scariest parts of running a melee heavy comp. Like obviously you're no stranger to sloppy twins, right? Like
yeah,
this fight can be insanely scary with this sort of comp, but I mean, honestly, like the reason why this was so smooth and the reason why our twins are so good, it's all our healers. Our healers are just absolute god tier pumpers. Like they don't get enough credit here. Like they're what allowed us to be able to do as well as we did in this run and go as fast as we did.
I was literally saying right before calling you, I was like, Progress's healer core is so fucking good.
Yeah, they're just absurdly
so
good. I'm not good at healing. I don't know how to heal properly, but whatever it is they do, they're doing it correctly.
Yeah. It's so impressive. Especially whenever you guys are able to drop healers early and still just never see issue. Not never, but like for the most part, right? Like deaths are like not a healer issue.
Yeah.
Other than Epis,
we end up getting an absolute perfect timing on the Shadow Nova. Well, technically not perfect. We end up having to like,
really
wait.
close.
We hesitate a little bit right here, and then we kill it. But we get the Shadow Nova and then just dies like a split second later. So that's about as well as you can do it. I mean, I'm sure you just watched it. Like Space Force's run ends up getting derailed by the fact that their last Shadow Nova ends up being
slow,
too early, right? So like they got theirs at like 15%, and then like a good like 10 seconds or so before the boss died, like that was enough time to get a bunch of stacks again.
They had 5 stacks on like 4 different people.
Yeah, and then that's basically. I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that derailed their run. Had that not happened, like they would have beat our time easily.
Yeah, things just fell apart. And you guys, I mean, from this section, even like in other runs, like sometimes like Creditor has died during the AoE taunt, or like Derpy has died in this section, and this week you guys just had like everything cool. Mira almost died.
Of course, there's a certain Fury Warrior who forgot to take his PvP trinket off after twins died.
Oh, there it is.
But it ends up getting solved before it's a big problem.
But you put up in this run, it was like number 3 DPS world
at the time.
Yeah. And then Noda went in and Noobs went, and like they're all like, we're all pumpers. And Space Force had a fucking run. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, like this run I could have played better. I didn't play terribly, obviously, but I could have done better than this, especially the section before Caligos. There was too many times not having the Torn malfunction really hurt. So there was a couple of times where I just stood there not in range of anything. So hopefully that issue will be solved next run and I can do a little bit better.
When do you guys plan on going again?
Horrible RNG on Felnist. What'd you say?
Yeah. When do you know when you guys are planning to go again?
Can't say for sure. I can say soon TM.
Yeah. And no PTR, but you guys get to put up a crazy run, hopefully.
Here's open, yeah.
Now nobody has PTR. Noobs is like, welcome to my world, but then they have like 18 runs, so.
All right, I finally get the PvP trinket off, thankfully.
There you go. Was chat just yelling at you about it?
Yeah, I went back and watched the VOD, and there was a wall of just take PvP trinket off, but eventually I noticed on my own, thankfully.
Mm-hmm. And here you get these down probably like exact same time. Do you do the distract strategy on Muru?
We do, yes. Actually, we did on our Muru here, but it ends up getting resisted.
Resisted, yeah.
Yeah, because you can see we start by attacking the front just under the assumption that the distract is there, but then
Gets the call,
Our rogue
yeah.
calls out like, oh yeah, it's just resisted by the way, so we have to turn it around.
Yeah.
And that actually makes Muru a little bit more annoying. Like you wouldn't think it makes that big of a difference, but with the way the ads get tanked, the entrance mobs actually end up having a lot better threat compared to the exit mobs because like the paladin can pick them up from the start.
Yeah,
And so
right
what
away.
that means is, yeah, if you're on the entrance side, like so if you're on the opposite side of the boss here, the ads will have better threat on that side, and you can start cleaving and whirlwinding and sweeping strikes sooner. The fact that like the strike gets resisted means we had to be on the other side where the ad threat was worse. So like honestly, this Muru could have been a little bit faster had the distract not resisted.
Really fast too. Still.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's still insanely fast, but we're like super close to the point where we can kill Muru before the darkness actually goes out. And if you can do that, then
that would be
gonna save
big.
us even more time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can definitely do it. We just got to get A, the distract not resisted, and B, maybe optimize it just a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the Marus now, I love it. The one phase Marus, like you guys were like the first ones to like really pull it off on like the global stage in a speed run, and it was fucking beautiful. And,
yeah,
like,
I know.
It's so fun.
It's funny how like insanely hard this boss is initially, and then you can eventually make it look like this, but
yeah.
It is, yeah, it's insanely satisfying to do it this way.
Yeah. Someone's asking, what's your F key? Is that the execute one?
F macro? Yeah, it's just my execute macro.
Yeah.
The reason why it's that icon instead of execute just goes back to the P server days where the icon for execute wasn't on the macro list for whatever reason. So that's the icon I always used, and I just stick with it because it's what I'm used to.
I have some things like that. My best friend's number in my phone, the first number I ever added to my like flip phone or whatever phone when I was like a little kid, I couldn't figure out on T9 how to make a space, so I have like a random like yen sign in between like his first and last name, and I still have that on my phone.
So this is the part, by the way, where Space Force use their rocket boots, whereas we don't. So like they equip, like right after Entropius dies, they would put rocket boots on.
Yeah.
And then after this first mob right here dies, they use their rocket boots, and that actually,
that's for sure a time save.
Well, it depends
Right?
on how the pat lines up. Like, if you end up getting it where like another robot at the bottom ends up being like right next to Kil'jaeden,
and you need to
then
drop
can
the
use them.
stacks because it can the first like apparently the earthquake can stack.
Yeah, exactly. So like if the two robots end up being like right next to each other and you both meet them like near the bottom, then sometimes it wouldn't be a time save at all. But it's definitely like a potential time save. Like especially if you get a like if we had put them on here, like we definitely could have taken advantage of it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a section. I've seen a lot of guilds use rocket boots on like the ramp before Muru also. But I think you guys do a really good job of having like Creditor or Derpy run forward and grab the next dog.
Exactly. Yeah. If you just bring the dog down and like have it meet you as you're killing the first one, then you can just mount up and it doesn't really matter as much then.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, I didn't even realize the F macro was a meme. That's so good, dude. Yeah, and then last week, not because you ran 2 runs. On Tuesday, you had world record. You were gonna get the current world record, and you got murdered.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term.
Murder by the fire blooms.
Yeah,
obviously, I think all of us were had a little bit of PTSD from that Kil'jaeden because we essentially had it in the bag and then kind of gave it away on that Kil'jaeden. So I think everybody was trying to play like extra clean on this fight, and it shows because this Kil'jaeden was insane.
Yeah.
Space Forces was a little bit faster, but this one was still quite nice.
There's 341. There's 345. But
yeah,
DPS is so high, man. I love that you brought the double hunter too. It's just my favorite, dude. The single target DPS. Church Vibes really stepped up. He had a fucking great run.
Yeah, I mean both Stead and Church like had insane runs.
Is it Stead, dude? I always say Stade, man. Have I been butchering his name this entire time?
Stead. Yeah.
Man, I'm so bad at that.
I'm right there with you. Like the only reason I know how to pronounce their names is because I hear it, but otherwise my American brain, just like yours, initially thought it was State.
Yeah.
Just like initially I thought Fienzi was Faginzi, so.
Dude, I that was a whole meme back in vanilla. Like it was a whole meme when I was saying it. And then I was like, F Genzi? All right, whatever. And everyone in progress is just memeing on it so hard in the chat and not saying how to say it. dead. All right, got it.
Yeah,
Easy,
we do
easy.
get warrior ads right here, which was something
Which is
that contributed to our Kil'jaeden failing the first time. So thankfully we played it a lot better this time around.
Yeah, warrior ads are like the only quote unquote scary one, right?
They're the only ones that'll really like kill you. Yeah, exactly. They don't really, as long as you play it properly, they don't really slow you down just because it doesn't really matter. They're going to die slower just because you can't be as aggressive with cleaving. But as long as you keep damaging the boss, like the boss doesn't die any slower. So it's not actually a big deal to get the warrior ads. It's just, it makes it scarier if you either run the wrong direction or if you tank them improperly.
Yeah. Run into them with like a shadow spike coming out and you're like, and I'm dead.
You can just insta die.
Yeah. But you guys get some really good breaths. I'm pretty confident you're gonna skip all of the like darkness phases. This is another fight that like it was annoying on progression, but now like you literally skip basically all of its mechanics.
You skip all the mechanics, yeah, essentially.
It's like so standard for all of like classic. It's like once you hit the DPS checks, you full on like ignore what bosses do. What's in your execute macro?
In it? I mean, it's literally just slash start attack slash cast execute. Now,
That's simple, boys.
It's that simple, but of course, you know, I like to meme it up sometimes and maybe add some extra stuff to that. But in reality, it's nothing special.
That's like my kill command. I like wrote a bunch of random things in there for no reason, and like people ask me, it's like the click action buttons for Terran Gorfine are in my kill command. It's just kill command, but I also have my click action buttons because of like I do have a pet bar obviously, but I would just like it was easy to have it all in there.
Dude, throughout the entirety of the Black Temple phase, I only got the Terran Gorfine game once out of all my runs I ever did.
You know, I don't know if I ever got it on live. I got it like 4 times on beta, and I don't think I ever got it on live.
Yeah, I don't know if there was some sort of thing maybe about threat that like determined who got it, but it seems, yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. Those were the days, dude. Remember, you used to play with us.
Hey, you know, I enjoyed my time. It's not like, you know, I look back in Baker's, but like, oh, I try to forget that. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, dude, fucking what a run, man. 32. And where do you think you guys lost, other than that first section, right? Because that, obviously, you lost time in that first section. You could probably clean it up, changing up the pulling with the pat and not dying, obviously. Where do you think you guys lost any other time?
I mean, obviously with the MD, like the grief pull after Felmis, that lost us 12 seconds. I think our Felmis kill time can be a little bit faster. I think our Brutalis kill time can be a little bit faster as well. So
yeah,
I
10
think
seconds, basically 9 seconds on Brutalis.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, maybe if we don't have all 6 lusts like Space Force did, I'm not sure you can make up all of that time, but I think we can make up a little bit. Number 1, by not having our Survival Hunter die, and then number 2, like Fienzi specifically had some pretty terrible RNG on that fight. Like he would normally do better on that fight. So our Brutalis can die a little faster. Definitely our Felmis can die a little bit faster. And then I think the we lost the time, a little bit of time between Caligos and Brutalis by just like hesitating and not pulling as fast as we should have. And then Muru, we can definitely save probably, I don't know, at least probably another 10 or so seconds by DPSing a little bit harder and killing it before the darkness goes out. Because then, because the problem is whenever darkness goes out, you lose a bunch of, like all of a sudden melee DPS just disappears until the boss dies. So if we can kill it before the darkness goes out, we can basically have full melee uptime on the boss. So I think if you like with absolute perfection, if we fix all those problems right there, plus we, like I said, like the section before Caligos, we clean up the pull order maybe a little bit. We don't have tanks die, and we maybe do a little bit better job at just basically executing a little bit better. I think in total off this run, we could shave at least 45 seconds, like maybe even up to a minute with just like absolute perfection.
You think a sub 31 is doable?
Sub 31, is it doable? Yeah, probably. Is it gonna happen? I think that's we'll see. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I'm not sure. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's gonna you'll ever see a sub 31. That'd be hard.
That would be a god run. The god run.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, I would guess that like the final like fastest speedrun time of the phase will probably end up being like mid 31s, maybe low 31s.
Yeah, how long do you think we have left? Any guess?
I mean, If we know, Wrath's coming out September 26th, right? So like they said, I think when they interviewed Brian Birmingham, they were talking about a 4 to 6 week pre-patch or something like he threw out. So if you use that timeline as an approximation, like that would give us, I mean, you would assume like if it was 6 weeks long, that would mean it's coming out next week, right? So
Yeah.
I don't see a world where they just like drop pre-patch with less than like a week advance notice. So I would assume it's going to end up being closer to like a month pre-patch. So I would guess we probably have, like after this current reset that we've already used, probably 2. No more than 2. Could even be 1 left. Yeah.
Well, brother, good luck, man. I'm really excited you're back in the runs. It's really hyped to watch, and you guys are absolutely pumping. But you have no room to like wait anymore because like Space Force is right on you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they're going again tonight, and I if I was a betting man, I would say they're probably going to beat us tonight. So we'll see what happens.
Are they? Yeah, if they go tonight, yeah, they're so close. So good luck, man. Thank you so much for coming on the stream and doing this. I miss you, bro, and I can't wait to see what you guys do in your next run, which is probably going to happen very, very soon. You guys listening and watching, very soon. He didn't say when. But it's gonna
soon.
I see you. Thanks, bro, man. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Good talking to you.
Yeah, and I'll hit you up after your next run, definitely.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later, brother. Have a good one.
All right, later.
All right, guys. Grats to Progress on another world record. They're pumping. This was 32 minutes 32. It was like another minute. It was a minute and like 7 seconds faster than anyone at the time. Now Space Force has gotten close and Noobs is getting close. So we have such incredible competition at the highest level right now in speedruns. It is absolutely amazing. Guys, shout out to Dali for being here. Let me link his Twitch in the chat really fast. But yeah, seriously, thank you for being here. Here's the VOD of this, and I'll probably upload this to YouTube. I'll upload this to YouTube anyways, even if Space Force crushes it today, because you know what? This was an amazing run. We're waiting for the Light of a Loon run. Yeah, we're just waiting for the Light of a Loon run. You're right, boys. All right, so should we do some spell hands stuff?